Jesus the pastor. What is a pastor and what does Jesus call a good pastor? In John chapter 10, Jesus declares that he is the good pastor. You see, the word pastor is simply the Latin variation of the word shepherd. Throughout the New Testament, we do not see that assigned to anyone outside of Jesus himself. Now, the reason why we see it in Ephesians 4 listed as a gift and not a title, because a shepherd is something that is given to someone to steward and to hold. In John chapter 10, Jesus declares that the good shepherd lays his life down for others, as opposed to a hired hand who simply has no ownership. You see, it's one thing to be hired as a pastor, but it's another thing for God to call someone ownership of something or a people in which they care for with their lives, not by driving or pushing, but by leading as an example. And to a certain extent, we're all called to do that. That's why throughout the scriptures, we see elders and deacons to steward the body together. Throughout the Old Testament, we see a few examples of good shepherds. Moses was selected by God, given the responsibility to lead his people from Egypt to Sinai, them into the promised land. Now, there's an incident at Mount Sinai which Moses stood and laid his life down on behalf of the people because they had committed a great sin with the golden calf. He was willing to take on the iniquity upon himself. King David, also a shepherd, not just an actual shepherd, but he was ultimately king and overseer, was given by God that gift to be the king and to look after God's people. And in the end of David's reign, we see him make a mistake and order a census. God sent a plague, and David stood up for his people and asked that that judgment be placed upon him so that God would spare the city, which was under attack by this plague. The point is, this good shepherd, which Jesus qualifies, and there is no greater shepherd than him, lays his life down because it's something that is owned and felt in someone. It's a gift that is given by God and the Holy Spirit. It's not just about a person, it's about a community, because we're all called to shepherd together. Each and every one of us, our families, our communities, our workplace, wherever we are, we're called to look after and look out for one another.